All right, friends, for our last lesson of the week, we are going to talk about all the shapes that we've been talking about, and we're going to use the attributes that we've learned about each of our 2D shapes. And attributes are the things that make them what they are, like what are their characteristics. So what kind of lines they have, how many sides, how many vertices, things like that. So you're going to use all that information you've been learning about your 2D shapes to compare 2D shapes and to talk about how they're alike and how they're different. Now, if we were at school, we'd be playing a game with a friend, and I'll kind of explain to you how you would play. So if you want to do it at home, you could. It'd be a great thing to practice with a parent or maybe another sibling. So all you would have to do is take some shapes and put them in a bag like this. Like I've cut out shapes, put them in a bag, and maybe you would draw a shape out and mom would draw a shape out. And then you would talk about the shapes and share one way they're alike and one way they're different. So if I pulled out these two shapes, I might say, and we would take turns, I might say, these shapes are the same because they both have straight lines. They're different because a hexagon has 6 vertices and a triangle only has 3 vertices. So it's kind of, and then you can put your shapes back and pull out 2 new ones. Okay, let's look at the 2 shapes I drew on this board. I want you to take a minute and think about, you could even pause and share with somebody in your house. How are these shapes, these 2D shapes, how are they the same? How are they different? So if you paused and took a minute to share and you're back with me, I'm going to share some of the things I noticed that's the same that I could say is the same about these shapes. Now, when we're talking about attributes, that doesn't mean we're not talking about that I used a purple marker. We're talking about what makes that shape the shape that it is, right? So I would say both of these shapes are 2D shapes. I could say both of these shapes have straight lines. These shapes are the same because they both have vertices. These shapes are the same because they're both made out of straight lines. I think I already said that one. Sorry. These shapes are different because a triangle only has 3 vertices and a square has 4 vertices. A triangle only has 3 straight lines and a square has 4 straight lines. So that's how I can compare my 2 shapes and talk about how they're alike and different. One of your assignments in Seesaw today that I'm going to put in there is you are going to have 2 shapes. And I want you to use the microphone to use words about what you know about those shapes to describe how they're alike and tell me at least one way those 2 shapes are alike and one way those 2 shapes are different. Okay, and that is it for our assignment today or our lesson today. So maybe you'll have a little extra time to go over to Dreambox and get a few lessons done over there today too. All right, so we're just talking about comparing 2D shapes and using what we know. I can't wait to hear how you guys compare your 2 shapes in Seesaw today. And if you want, you can, that's a really easy game to put together, parents, of cutting out some shapes and just pulling them out and playing and talking about those shapes and the attributes. Make sure you're using words like vertices, lines, sides, 2D shapes. Okay, all right, I will see you guys back here next week for some more with 2D shapes.